Venezuela's economy is in a deep crisis. Its president, Nicolas Maduro, declared a state of economic emergency for 60 days on Friday. Maduro's government stopped publishing any economic data about the country in 2014, other than updates on its shrinking gold and cash reserves. But that changed Friday when Venezuela finally published years of economic data. And it was ugly. Venezuela's economy shrank 7.1% in the third quarter of last year, according to the government. It's been shrinking for 7 consecutive quarters going back to the start of 2014. Inflation in Venezuela skyrocketed 141% over the year ending in September, the central bank reported. Incredibly, some experts believe even that figure is understating the problem. The IMF projects inflation in Venezuela will increase 204% this year. The country is in economic meltdown, says Edward Glossop, emerging markets economist at Capital Economics, a research firm. The figures are predictably horrific. Here are 5 reasons why Venezuela continues to be an economic mess. Related, oil prices dive on Iran sanctions fallout. 1. Oil crash hurts Venezuela the most. Venezuela's economy depends mostly on oil. That was great when a barrel of oil was worth $100 a barrel in 2013 and 2014. Now oil prices have fallen to as low as $28.36, the lowest point in 12 years. As long as oil prices stay historically low, Venezuela will struggle to grow. Barclays economist Alejandro Ariza calls Venezuela the biggest loser in Latin America from the oil price crash. He predicted Venezuela's exports will total a mere $27 billion in 2016, down dramatically from $75 billion 2 years before. 2. A currency worth less than a penny. Venezuela's currency, the bolivar, has plummeted at a breathtaking pace. A year ago, $1 equaled 175 bolivars. Now a dollar is worth 865 bolivars. Put another way, 1 bolivar is worth $0.0011 less than a penny, according to the unofficial exchange rate on dollartoday.com. Most Venezuelans exchange bolivars and dollars at the unofficial rate because Maduro's regime has created a confusing system that involves 3 official exchange rates, 2 for different types of imports and 1 for ordinary Venezuelans. The 2 primary rates deeply overvalue the bolivar, creating high demand for dollars. Related, Venezuela is running out of cash, selling gold. 3. New power struggle dooms 2016. Some Venezuelans have had enough of Maduro. In January, the opposition party, Democratic Unity, took 109 seats in Congress, far more than the 55 seats Maduro's Socialist Party won. The opposition now controls 65% of Congress. That's important. That level allows Democratic Unity to fire Maduro's cabinet members and pass reforms that Maduro can't overturn. Of course it's not that easy. Maduro appointed new Supreme Court justices right before the new Congress took office. They could overturn the opposition's legislation, creating government gridlock. In any case, political instability is never good for an economy, and it's on the rise this year. 4. Default in 2016 is difficult to avoid. Venezuela has been teetering on the brink of default the past 2 months. The country is barely making enough money on oil exports to cover its debt payments. This year Venezuela owes over $10 billion in debt payments. Nearly half of that is due in October and November. I'm 99% sure they're going to default this year, says Russ Dowlin, managing partner at Latinvest, a Miami-based firm that invests in Venezuela. Barclays Ariza mostly agrees, saying that a Venezuelan default in 2016 is difficult to avoid. The only thing preventing a default is if oil prices rise soon or one of its few allies, China, Russia, or Iran, bail out the government. Both of those appear unlikely for now. 5. Food crisis. Venezuelans are bearing the brunt of the economy's problems. The government can't pay to import basic food items like milk, flour, and eggs, leaving many supermarkets with empty shelves. A year ago, McDonald's, McD, in Venezuela temporarily ran out of French fries. Food shortages along with lines lasting several hours in hot weather are a major source of the social unrest in the country. There are no eggs, there's no milk, says Dowlin, who frequently travels to Venezuela. It's getting worse. Venezuela's economy shrank 5.7% in 2015 and is expected to contract an additional 8% this year, the International Monetary Fund says. Inflation has skyrocketed, suffering annual inflation rates predicted to hit the 700% range while failing to meet its citizens' most basic needs, according to IMF projections. The bolivar, Venezuela's currency, is worth less than a penny on the black market exchange. And the country's economic woes don't look like they will be solved anytime soon. Isturiz, the vice president, announced in April that there would be 3 days per week of mandatory leave for all non-essential public workers until further notice, which means a 2-day work week for thousands of civil servants. Once the cornerstone of Venezuela's economy and the source of funding for many of Chávez's social programs, global oil prices have plummeted, leaving Venezuela in dire financial straits, especially as much of the country's output is of lower quality. Venezuela isn't even averaging $30 a barrel on the oil they manage to ship because their oil is heavy and sour, which results in prices in the mid-teens when Brent and WTI are averaging significantly higher. Eric Smith, an associate director of the university's Tulane. The cash-strapped government can't even pay for basic imports such as sugar, flour, and eggs. Many Venezuelans wait several hours in lines outside supermarkets, hoping shelves won't be emptied out by the time they arrive. Reports of looting of staples like kitchen rolls, salt and shampoo, even chicken and underwear throughout the country amid empty shops and soaring black market prices are a keen indicator of how desperate some have become. Venezuelans in long lines, we need food and medicine.